Hey guys, Chris Landino and Dakota Jones with Red River 4x4. We want to talk to you today about our next upcoming event, which is going to be Trail Hero in Sand Hollow, Utah, October 2nd through the 7th. First, we want to give you a little recap of our latest trip. We just got back from Colorado. Dakota, what was the first place that we camped that first night? Where were we at?
We were at the Golden Horn Campground right outside Silverton, Colorado. It's pretty sweet. It's a really easy campground to get to. There's a nice little creek that runs through it. And it was a good time. A lot of rain. It's really wet, but it was a lot of fun.
So from there we went to Silverton, had some breakfast, got some coffee. And then where'd we go next after that?
We did Ophir Pass. I went through the little town of Ophir, checked all that out. And then I believe we went to Telluride after that, didn't we? There's 4 days of jam-packed stuff. It's all kind of running together, but
That's right.
Ophir was awesome.
So I knew about Ophir Pass, but the town surprised me. I was shocked when we came over the mountain and I could see the little town down there. And when we got down there, there's a lot of people that are living down there, and it's kind of off-grid. It's not completely off-grid. They've got power and water and that stuff, but it's a ways from town, and that's a pretty cool lifestyle. Then we went to Telluride, like you said. We rode the gondola.
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 Not gondola. The gondola. So while we were up there, there's some guys trying to figure out where they were at in town. And I kept hearing this guy say gondola.
Over the radio.
Over the radio. And it took so much for me to say, hey, buddy, gondola.
Gondola.
Not gondola.
When we got up at the top of Telluride at the ski resort, we could see the airport, which is a runway that just runs right off the cliff. It was super awesome. But Telluride is literally the gateway to Imogene Pass.
We got lucky on Imogene and the weather broke just enough to where we could get really good views. And after talking to some of the locals there, a lot of these guys still use these pass roads to go from town to town, because if you take the highway, it may take you 3 or 4 hours to get around there, and a pass will take you an hour to go 20 miles. So it's cool. Definitely a real experience.
So Imogene, just a hair over 13,000 feet. That was the tallest pass that we went over. Once we went down the backside, I'd say the Ouray side of the pass, we found a camp, Camp Bird. Camp next to a beautiful waterfall there. That waterfall was intense. You talk about a little nighttime ASMR, a little bit of creek going in the background, the waterfall. It made it super easy to sleep. Overlanding is a little bit different than just your regular camping, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool to be able to just drive out through the mountains and come up on something like, hey man, that's a sweet camp spot, and you literally just throw our tent sub right there, whether you're sleeping in a ground tent, rooftop tent, no matter what. I mean, going and finding camp spots was probably one of the funnest times, even seeing the passes, is we literally camp next to a waterfall of some sort every single night.
And Bird Camp is a large area with several different camp spots that you couldn't have gone wrong anywhere there. Once we left camp that morning, we got up and we headed down the mountain. We knew we were going to go to Ouray. When we got to the fork at the county road and saw the sign for Yankee Boy, we decided to head up Yankee Boy.
I've always dirtied everything that I found. This ain't no difference, look at you now. And baby, cut yourself loose. Save all the things that I said that night. Playing it cool, but I never got it right. Baby, cut yourself loose.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. You know, an older gentleman at the camp the first night was saying Yankee Boy is one definitely to see, but he said it's nothing to take lightly. But it can be pretty tricky. We got 3/4 of the way up there. I'm like, man, this is nothing. You know, it's nice little easy drive. Then it started raining on us. We went all the way to the summit as far as you could go before the hiking trail started. And you know, it's nuts how that thing goes from something you could drive a little car up to needing to be in 4 low because there's mud everywhere, slick mud. Didn't want to come out of your tires, but we all got up it no problem, and it was fun. I'm glad we went. It's a really beautiful, real beautiful view. It's got a nice little lake right below it that you look over.
Yeah, I would say the views at the top of Yankee Boy, which is just right, almost at the top of Mount Sneffels, which is a 14,000 foot peak in Colorado. The views from there were probably the best we saw on the trip. You could see way down the canyon, down towards Ouray, which is where we ended up next. We went down to Ouray. Got a few supplies and headed on to our next adventure, which was Engineer Pass. Engineer was the one that I was really looking forward to. It's a little bit more technical, although Yankee Boy at the top was pretty technical. But as far as the known passes go, Engineer was the one that I really wanted to tackle. Aside from Black Bear, which was still closed. So I was excited about heading up Engineer. Man, I could not believe the views that we saw up at the top with all the mines and all that kind of stuff.
Engineer was epic. You know, what derived me to want to go to Colorado so much wasn't just for the passes, but the mines. You know, I love the history. I love, you know, learning about basically what built America. You know, and the amount of construction of those mines and stuff that are still standing is crazy. You know, you can drive around any town and find a house that's only 25 years old, and you know, it can be in shambles, and that stuff's literally been in the weather for 100 to 150 years, and the bones of it is still standing. I mean, yeah, a lot of them have come down, but it's cool. We got to walk around with some of them that weren't closed and really check it out, and it's mind-blowing. You know, for me, that's what made the trip.
Yeah, I agree. I've always been enamored by the idea that these guys in the early 1800s were building these cabins and building these mines at 11,000 plus feet above sea level, and how they got all their stuff up there. We have the most awesome equipment in the world. Your Tacoma, our Gladiator, we made the trip, and it was rough, and I can't imagine doing that with a friggin' donkey. and a pick and a shovel. You know what I mean? It's really amazing. Those had to be the toughest people on the planet ever.
Yeah, I mean, thinking about it, the conversation got brought up is, we're used to building a campfire around here. We're somewhere between 650 and 700 feet above sea level. You build a little campfire, you got a nice big flame, Up there at 11, 12,000 feet, you got a nice fire going, and, the oxygen is so thin up there, you're not getting the same response as you would where we're from. So, the point of that being, those guys were up there when it was way below zero, no power. Crazy. It's beautiful, but it is nuts what they did.
Yeah. So we made it to the top engineer. We got our picture taken. Couldn't see anything off the top of the mountain, but we could see all the way up until we got to the top. Got into a little rainstorm there at the top, which was kind of eerie. It was cold. Man, it was cold up there. Dropped down off the backside, found us another camp with a beautiful waterfall right there at an old mining camp. That was a Golconda mining camp on Mineral Creek. The rain finally broke. We started seeing stars in the sky. Really had a nice time at that camp, and that waterfall was really something. Spent the night there, got up the next morning and traveled on into Lake City, which I thought was just going to be a run down the mountain. But we ran into an old town called Capital City, and then an old mine down there, the Ule mine, which still had a lot of the old buildings. And there was an old dam there where they used to have a lake up that canyon. That was a really cool spot. I really liked that spot.
Yeah, there's a lot of information about that town, and that little mining area is actually what created Lake City. The dam backed up the river and created a lake. And it's really easy to get to. It's only 3 miles from actual town. You can drive a regular car up there to see it, but a lot of the buildings are still there. The workshop, the blacksmith shop was still there. There's probably a dozen buildings still standing.
Mill still standing.
And still in really good shape.
I thought Lake City was just kind of a blast from the past. We even found a payphone there. It was pretty cool. But yeah, I was in 3G roaming network. I thought it was 1999. There was only one place open for breakfast, and man, the breakfast was good. There wasn't a whole lot open there, but it was good. Yeah. So you guys headed right at San Cristobal Lake, and we headed left and went up the highway and headed towards Creede, Colorado. We went over a mountain pass, come down the bottom, and the Rio Grande River there in Colorado flows through this valley. We stopped. I did a little fly fishing down there on the river. What a beautiful place that was. Had a great time. There was a weasel down there trying to get into Tyler's stuff. And the fishing guide was like, "Hey, there's a weasel." And it was pretty funny. We went through South Fork and then down to Raton, New Mexico. Went through the northeastern corner of New Mexico and then into Texas through Dalhart. And then the rest of it's just the same old boring trip we've been on a million times, but that's how we finished off our trip. So next up is Trail Hero in Sand Hollow, Utah, October 2nd through the 7th. Trail Hero is a event that brings out some of the best rock crawlers in the country and really the world. I've heard there's people coming from Japan, Europe, Australia, all over the world, and of course from all 50 states, and we will be there. We're going to have a booth in the vendor section. We're going to have a booth in the overland section. The overlanding thing is new for them at Trail Hero. And I'm glad that we get to be a part of representing that, because that is a lot of what we do here in this area. So that's where we're going to be headed. The Trail Hero Music Fest is going to be going on while we're there. Uncle Cracker, POD, some country bands. There's going to be live music almost every night. Lots of vendors. There's going to be Power Hour Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I think from 5 to 7, where our customers can get a deeper discount on our products. We're going to have some stuff there, some special stuff that we'll be selling on site. And obviously they can buy any of our product from our website or from our actual store. So Trail Hero, October 2nd through 7th. There's going to be music. There's going to be rock crawling. There's going to be side-by-side racing. There's sand. There's a lake. There's rocks. It's going to be amazing. We're going to be there. We're going to have 2 booths. Come out and see us. Sand Hollow, Utah, October 2nd through 7th.